This is the second principle to live by in order to really get our hearts right. And so there's righteousness by faith, the revelation of righteousness by faith. There's walking in sacrificial love, which is this teaching. And then the last one is going to be forgiveness from the heart. And so there's a lot of scripture. Christianity is all about love. God is love. Jesus showed us what love is by laying down his life. So I'm sure you can think of other scriptures to add into this. We're only going to look at one and take it from a Discovery Bible study approach. So the person you're discipling or group that you're teaching, this is the scripture, and then there's some questions to go with it. So 1 John 3:16 to 20. So this is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. If anyone has any material possessions and sees his brother in need but has no pity on him, how can the love of God be in him? Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth. This then is how we know that we belong to the truth, and how we set our hearts at rest in his presence whenever our hearts condemn us. Okay, so near the end there, we see what happens. We see what happens, which is that our hearts will condemn us. Everybody has had that experience where shame tries to creep in, or we think of ourselves too little, and what this is saying is that when we walk in sacrificial love, then our hearts will not condemn us. That's actually how we get past our hearts condemning us, is walking in sacrificial love. And so the Discovery Bible Study, you can ask these three questions, and the teaching I just gave about what this is saying, best for that to come out in the group as you're facilitating, or with the other person as you're facilitating with these questions. So first of all, read the scripture, and then what kind of love is this talking about? Second question, what does it say will happen when we love in this way? And third question, who is the Spirit putting on your heart to love in this way? So what kind of love is this? What does it say will happen when we love? And who is the Spirit putting on your heart to love in this way? The what does it say will happen when we love, there may be some different answers to that, and yet it's pretty clear when we look at this text. It's saying, let us love with words, not with words or tongue, but with actions. This then is how we know we belong to the truth, and how we set our hearts at rest in his presence. So if we want our hearts to be at rest, if we want our hearts to be aligned with the heart of God, then we need to walk in sacrificial love. And we're aiming at a culture of obedience as we do this, not like head knowledge. And so really people should be having as a takeaway who the Spirit is putting on their heart to love this way. And then there needs to be a measure of accountability where the next time you talk to the person, or the next time the group meets, people are asked, how did it go loving in that way? And the more specific, the better. That's just how character growth works, is that we make very specific plans. Like for me, with my wife tonight, and I want to make this real, so not just an example, with my wife. So tonight I am going to pitch in more around the kitchen. Usually that's her role, is like cleaning up the kitchen at the end of the night. My role is cooking, but sacrificial love is laying down our lives. And so when right at the point of night where I want to kick my feet up, relax just before I go to bed, tonight and every night this week, I'm gonna up my game and pitch in around the kitchen even more with Heather, cleaning the dishes and stuff, and that's how I'm gonna love her sacrificially. And we need to have those kinds of specific plans, to walk through them, be held accountable. So anybody watching this, hold me accountable and ask me if I did that the week of August 3rd. And let's walk bit by bit in sacrificial love. And this is something that Hank says. He says, when we're born again, it's like we had 600 pounds. And then when we were born again, all the flesh just got cut off of us, and we lost all the weight and got to our preferred weight. And then what happens, though, is the enemy sneaks in. He tries to put on the weight pound by pound, bit by bit, to get us back into this lazy state. And there's analogy. There's such a good analogy, because in the same way that we're going to eat healthy, do exercise, whatever that may be for you, maybe it's going on a walk, in order to keep our bodies fit. In the same way, to keep our souls fit, and what we're talking about is the heart, to keep our hearts right. We talked about rejection and rebellion. In order to walk free from rejection and rebellion, we need to, in the same way we would go on fast walks and eat healthy, we need to lay down our lives for those closest to us, as well as anybody who God puts in our path. And when we do, that will keep the flesh off in the same way that fast walking, dieting, all that stuff will actually keep weight off. And what's more important, 1 Timothy 4:8 says that godliness is more important than physical training. And so really, if you only could do one or the other, Scripture is saying fast walking, dieting, keeping your body, weight where you want it to be, or walking in the way of Jesus, sacrificially loving those around you in order to walk in godliness. The latter there, that one is the one that we're ultimately called to as believers. So walk in sacrificial love, and then the enemy won't be able to put the flesh back on. The enemy won't be able to get a hold on the heart, and we'll stay fit spiritually in our soulical self, and our hearts will not condemn us. That when the voice comes in of, oh, you this or that, we'll have risen above that by walking in sacrificial love, obeying Jesus in that way.